All right, you are looking live at the Nasdaq, the daily chart of the Nasdaq. And on Friday, it was up 255 points or 1.7% and closed at 15,310, which is significant. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I wanted to go through the week, bar by bar as we came back from the Martin Luther King holiday. And you could see, investors were in a selling mode. And you got to keep that in mind here. As you can see, this distribution, people expecting something similar to a pullback, which we had below the 21. I saw some people saying, oh, it's going to pull back to the 50. And after this, just for a little background, we had the three legs lower last summer, and then we had the follow through day and the 21% gain. It gave back, less than 4%, then rallied back up. And then, like I said, on Tuesday, sold off with a distribution day and then sold off on Wednesday with a less aggressive selling. Then it came back to its 21. And then on Thursday, Taiwan Semiconductor reported a quarter that was game changing, real strong, and showing strength in artificial intelligence. That theme is the theme of the bull market. Just as I say about the backdrop, I believe we started a new bull market back in May. You call it what you want, nice uptrend. Then we had the three legs down, then the run up. And so now here we are here, this week of Martin Luther King. And then lo and behold, looks like a sell-off. People are expecting a sell-off. People are expecting the Nasdaq to come down. That's why we want to keep an open mind, remain flexible. It ramped after Taiwan semiconductor report. Then on Thursday evening, Supermicro computer raised guidance, significantly raised guidance, and then it was off to the races, a nice 1.7% move, like I said. And you could see the volume profile here, just the recent volume profile for the Nasdaq, as there's buyers coming in. This index is not making a new high like the S&P, but you can see the big blue volume bars. And yes, there's going to be distribution. There's going to be pullbacks, like you see here and like you see here, because there's going to be profit taking when people have a lot of chips on the table. They want to take some off, but I think there's still a lot of people short this market, and a lot of people skeptical. A lot of macro people, with the inverted yield curve and all the negative stuff with wars and the big deficit. But you just got to disregard all that. The market will tell you what's going on. It's looking out 6 to 9 months ahead, and it likes what it sees. So just take it day by day. The Nasdaq made it a high above the 15,150, which I think is significant. It closed above that level at 15,310. So you're thinking, gosh, what's the next move if this thing wants to continue higher? Well, it's got to have the 16,212 in its sight here. It's only 900 points away. So that would be the next area of interest. And it, if you just take a look at this chart, this looks to me like nice cup with handle. Like I said, the breakout, and it looks to me like it's going to take it out. But you just take it one day at a time. Anything can happen. S&P 500. I did mention that it traded at an all-time high. That's got to be bullish. When the index took out the 4,818, closed at 4,839. It was up 1.17%. So not quite as strong as the Nasdaq, but still trading at all-time highs where the Nasdaq is not. And I've got to get to the Russell. This is the lagging index, but I still believe that the small caps are going to have a good year this year. And you can see that's consolidation period, and it rallied up towards the end of last year. Now it's had a 4-week sell-off, a pullback to its 50. And so let's go to the daily here. To me, that looks like a good shakeout, right? That's a nice shakeout from this level up here, which was what, 2,071 down to 1,898. Now it's bounced a little bit. So that is a good shakeout. I'm going to keep my eye on this, see if the small caps can, rally here in 2024. Anyway, I'm going to take a look at some stocks. We do stocks here. Just swing trading stock. So I'm going to go to the daily chart of Apple, even though this is a weekly review. Thank you for watching my weekly review. I've been talking about this for a while, how the Mag 7 stocks are set up in bases, and I'm trying to be unbiased here. But you could see this big cup with handle pattern. Then Apple broke down to its 200 and now has rallied back above the 50 there. They had news about their goggles or whatever, but still, to me, if you look at the weekly here, that's a nice cup and a shakeout down to the 200. That's a nice shakeout. They're going to report earnings here on February 1st, I believe, which is only, a week and a half away. So we're coming up on Apple earnings. And that's going to be, the proof is in the pudding. They're going to have to deliver the goods for that stock to trade higher. Microsoft has overtaken Apple as the largest market cap stock. And these are stocks that you're not going to hit grand slams with. I mean, they're set up to move higher. They're probably going to have a good year in 2024, but they're not going to go up 100, 200%. Microsoft would be good year if it went up 20, 25%. We're not going to, we're not going to turn a bad eye to 20, 25% here. We'll take that all day long. This one made a new high at 398, 67, closed at the high there. You can see the daily closing range 100%, which indicates that hammer candle that it's going to trade higher. And probably meet resistance at the 400 level. We'll see. Once again, they have to report earnings on January 30th. They have to deliver the goods. A lot of good news is priced in. A lot of growth is priced in with this stock. Speaking of which is Meta, a lot of growth priced in. This one, traded in a new high on Friday, 86% to the daily range on that bar. So, very strong performance from Meta last week, up 2.3%. Yeah, it sold off on the, we came back from that Martin Luther King holiday, sold off pretty good that one day, nearly 2%, and then pulled back to the 10 and rallied higher. That one looks good. They're going to report the same day as Apple on February 1st. This is Amazon. Once again, another of these Mag 7s set up in a base, pulls back to the 50 after the breakout, which is usually a gift, 155 to 144. There's, your opportunity. Then it bounced higher. And now it's surfing its moving averages. They're going to report on February 1st too. So that's going to be a busy day. I'm wondering if that's accurate. All these companies reporting on the same day. So anyway, I'll have that information on my site, not to worry. Google is another one that I like that's set up in a base. When all these stocks set up in bases, the likelihood is they're going to trade higher. This one, you could see the consolidation pattern, pull back there, 142 to 135. That's a nice shakeout. Rallied back up and supported it to 21 the last couple of days, which was, real strong for the market. The closing range, 97% on Friday. So that bodes well for Google going forward. The one stock in this Mag 7 that just cannot get out of reverse is Tesla. Made a lower low on Friday once again at 207.56. The low on Thursday was 208. The low on Wednesday was 212. So it just continues to make lower lows, lower highs is the definition of a downtrend. So Tesla's in a void. They're going to report on Wednesday, the 24th. So once again, the proof is in the pudding. They're going to have to deliver the goods. I wouldn't bet against Elon Musk, but the chart's telling you the story here, and it's in a downtrend. So that's going to have to reverse that downtrend for me to become more positive on that stock. NVIDIA, obviously, this one broke out that 500 level on that Monday. I had to buy NVIDIA and Crowd on the same day. It was the 8th, yeah, when it ran right through its pivot point early in the morning. I think it was like the first 5 or 10 minute tick there. So I had to be quick, and it's just rallied relentlessly ever since. Extended a little bit here above its 10 EMA. That's 8% above the 10 EMA, which is a little out of character for it. But, after the Taiwan news on Thursday, that EPS report, it's understandable, but the semiconductors ripped higher. This is the king of AI, and it's the hub of the artificial intelligence bull market thesis. So NVIDIA is going to get its market share, and the stock will appreciate over time if it continues to deliver these strong earnings. They're not going to report until the middle of February. All right, I'm going to get to some of the other semiconductor stocks, some stocks that I like, some stocks that are set up. Just going to go one by one, not in any particular order, although I did want to show AMD because, I showed you the Nasdaq, how it sold off on Tuesday and Wednesday when they came back from Martin Luther King holiday. AMD just defied the market here. It did not trade with the market. You could see that nice little wedging pattern, little bull wedge, and it just blasted higher on Tuesday. This is big institutional footprints here. Yeah, it was up 8% while the Nasdaq was down significantly, then rallied, the rest of the week. As a weekly chart, you got to go to the weeklies, and you can see this. If you're short term, you could say this is a cup with handle running higher. If you're a little longer term, which I tend to be, and look at the bigger picture, you could just say this is just a big, cup. Yeah, there's your handle and there's your breakout. But really that 164 and change area, that the breakout didn't really occur till last week, the breakout to new highs. So you could see that old high was 164.46. Did not clear that until last week. The high prior was 150. But this stock ran from what, 149 to 174 last week, 18.8% rip higher. So, those institutional footprints, yeah, I mean, they're gonna, as you can see here, they've been buying this stock. They don't, establish a position in a day or a week. It take months. And AMD, it just looks like somebody put out a note and the buy switch flipped on Tuesday, and they just came back from the holiday and were buying this stock. The demand is insatiable. There's no denying it for advanced micro devices. Once again, the AI theme playing out here. They're going to get their market share as well. Broadcom, another one that I feature all the time on this site. This one, it had this ascending base pattern here. It had the big consolidation from like May to August or whatever, October, and made these a series of these three highs with the pullback of 10% to 20%. So that's your ascending base. A high of 925, 999, 1151. So that would be your standard buy point, the 1151. I had it a little earlier as it broke above the downtrend line last week, but definitely a strong breakout on Friday, up 5.8%. And, the ascending base is a rare pattern, usually pretty powerful. So I expect more gains from Broadcom. It was up 9.3%. I know some folks were playing options with that one and paid off nicely. You could see the RS line, in these semiconductor stocks. For me, for my case, I have to own them. AMD and NVIDIA are my choice, but you can't go wrong with Broadcom as well. That one's doing super well. MRVL, another one that we had on our ready list last week. Once again, long consolidation here, longer the base, the higher in space. This one from May all the way till really it didn't break out till last week. You can see, the three, it's kind of like a handle pattern right here. Some people would call it, like a wedge or a handle, but this shake out to the 10 and then blasting higher. Let's take a look at the weekly. It's a little more pronounced on the weekly here, this consolidation pattern, long consolidation, and really didn't break out till last week, later in the week. So MRVL to me is, not too late on it, still actionable. But we do have some earnings coming up this week that could affect it. So I wouldn't get too anxious or jump the gun. Let's just see what these companies have to say. Rambus, another one. Got to go to the weekly chart on this one. You can see the consolidation pattern here. Then the pullback, cut below the 50, then ramped higher last week. It was up, 11% last week. Let's take a look at the daily and see that pullback. Yeah, you can see the ramp from 48 to 71.90, then this pullback. Nice pullback. You like to see that shake out here down to 62, 71.90 to 62. Bounce off the 50. It kind of squatted there for a little while and then now bounced last week. Okay, SMCI, everybody's talking about SMCI and they want SMCI. But this stock was very choppy. You could see after the big run, let's go to the weekly. I had traded this one from like 90 to 350 or whatever, and then parted out some stocks. It was like 37% of my portfolio. And then I got it down below 10% before earnings, and it just fell out of bed on this earnings day. And yeah, really crushed some people. Yeah, 357 down to 250. But it consolidated. You can see this consolidation from last August, early in August, and it was very choppy. A lot of people, at the site said they try to trade it. It goes up, looks like it's going to run, but nope, it sells off. You get stopped out, and then it looks like it's going to run again here at 317. You get stopped out to 226. Looks like it's going to run. So this is very choppy. 327, pulls back to 275. Even last week, it was down 8% prior to the 36% move on Friday. You could see that nice, when I talk about the wedge pattern, we're going to keep that pattern in mind because you're going to see shakeouts before the breakouts oftentimes, but that's a clean breakout. I had the 357 standard buy point. I'm just playing by my rules here. Yeah, I sold, at the, what did I sell? 330 and 350, almost top ticked, which is rare for me. I never do that. But now I'm just buying at the standard buy area of 357 on Fridays. I got to go to the 5 minute. I think it was like the first 5 minute bar, the 357. Yeah, it got out of there in a hurry. You can see that right there. If you didn't get it there or there, man, this thing's gone. And it went up to, I don't know, 427 or something like that. And then pulled back towards the end of the day. I think that, 428, yeah, closed at 423. And this thing could pull back next week, down to 400. That, that wouldn't surprise me. If it traded sideways at 420, that wouldn't surprise me. If it ripped right up to 500, it wouldn't surprise me. Typically, what they do is they raise guidance a few weeks before their earnings report, and then they get to the report and say demand is strong, and then they raise it slightly again. They're going to beat what the numbers they came out with Thursday. They're going to beat that on the 29th, and they're going to raise slightly. That's just what they've been doing. They play this game. The demand is very strong with this company. But, the stock was in consolidation for a long period. Like I say, the longer the base, the higher in space. So I expect that one to trade higher. Not right away, but I believe it will trade higher. Okay, I'm going to get into some of the software names that we've been tracking. Datadog, sold off with the, the bear market in 2022, formed this stage one base. You can see the pronounced cup with handle. And to me, it just broke out last week above that high in the handle. Okay, I know you could say, oh, I should have bought it at 80 and it ran up to 120. You missed 50%. And that's all true. But like I said, I try to stick to my rules and, and it's worked for me. So I'm just going to stick with it. Once again, you had this shake out there from 124 to 110. And now it closed above 130, and you could see that candle on Friday, another hammer there, 95% of the daily range. So I like Datadog. I like, that it's sold off for a long time. And they report earnings on February 13th. I think they're doing pretty well. This is Cloudflare Net. And I'm going to put this one on our ready list for the week because I believe, the break above the downtrend line on Friday is significant. You could say this thing broke out, made like a 20% move or more, and then pulled back to the 50, which usually is a gift. After the breakout, the first trip to the 50 is a gift, especially in a tape like this. So I believe Cloudflare, there you can see the double bottom pattern. And this is all stage one, after the big bear market, this is all just a stage one base. There's not really a breakout here. It's just been kind of trading in a range here for a long time. So yeah, I'm looking for a move, a sharp move higher of at least 20% from, 80 close to par 100 here for Cloudflare. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Another one that I like on Monday, this one again, the big bear market, big sell-off, big correction. So, it's got a consolidation. You can see this base here, this base. It's like a base on base pattern. That's just one consolidation. Has not broke out yet there. The high was what, 189, I think. And so that would be, my pivot area, 189.15. Yeah, I want to see it trade. Yeah, it's above there. Well, 195, it's $6 above, but I'm expecting a 10-20% move here, get back to the 220, 230 area for Monday. Spotify, another one that I like. They're going to report earnings soon. Let's go to the daily here. So February 6th, and you can see this is just a flat base pattern, a shorter time frame here. So maybe the move won't be as pronounced, but I expect a move higher from Spotify. 7-week flat base pattern. Let's see it push away from that area. CrowdStrike, this is the one that I like in cybersecurity. I like Zscaler, Palo Alto Networks, Sentinel-1. I like a lot of them, but this one, I've got to go to the monthly because you can see the accumulation here. Last summer when the Nasdaq was selling off in July, it was up 10%. August, that was 3 legs down. This thing was being accumulated. October was up 5.6%. And then when the Nasdaq got right and started acting better, it was up 34% in November, 7% in December, and 13.7% this month. So this one, this is how I played it. I bought the 160 breakout and then rode this thing all the way up to 260 and then sold half and then sold all of it because I didn't want to sit through what I thought could be a correction here. But then when it broke out the same day as NVIDIA, that Monday, the 8th, I believe it was. Yeah, both of them broke out early in the morning, so I had to buy both of them back in. Usually when I buy back, I buy a little more. So if I had 100 shares running up here, sold them all out, I'd buy 110 back on this next move. I expect CrowdStrike, as we go to the weekly, to take out the old high of 298.48, which is, $8 from here. So this could be one of those big monster stocks that model book stocks that could be a big winner, in the next 4 to 8 quarters. You can see CrowdStrike making a big move. I can see it making a big move. Anyway, it was being accumulated. ESTC, man, I got a lot of stocks to get to today. I got to go a little quicker. Flat base pattern. I liked it below the downtrend line. Excuse me, as it broke above the downtrend line right there on that bar, but it's got a standard buy point there at 118.24, so we'll go with that. It did make that move last week. MELI, Mercado Libre, flat base pattern, looks a lot like ESTC, broke above its downtrend line. And there, that big bar a couple weeks ago. And then on that Martin Luther King, when we came back from the holiday, this thing was up where the Nasdaq sold off. Then it did come back a little bit, but man, that bar on Friday, that's a nice one. $64 move, nearly 4%. So Mercado Libre is breaking out. NTNX, this is a software name, AI play. I've got to go to the weekly. This is a weekly review. You can see the big bear market, then consolidation, in 2023. Didn't do a whole lot, then broke out in September and has been ripping ever since. You can see after the breakout, came back to the 51-day, and that's what I say. That's like a gift, right? There's your breakout move. And then the pullback to the 50 is your gift, and now it's just surfing its moving averages. Pull back to the 21 once, and now it's adios muchachos. This thing is gone. ANF, this is another model book stock. This thing has been a beaut. Broke out in May here. And strong stocks, they do not give you the opportunity to get in very often. And you can see it's been gapping with earnings, gapped here. Every time it reports earnings, it just gaps higher. November is a gap. It's just, really strong stock. They report not until March. So they reported recently with another, pull back to the 10. That's all you're getting. So this one, after the May breakout, has not revisited that 10-week line. So how do you get in? Well, you hold your nose and close your eyes and buy and pull back to a moving average. If you want to own that stock, they are doing well. Low float stock. Deckers, this is a good example of why we follow these power earnings gaps higher. It broke out in October, nearly a 20% move with heavy volume, and it's just been riding its moving averages higher. Once again, pull back to the 51 time, which is the gift, right? After the breakout. But I mean, it broke out at, let's get the price here. Broke out, the range was what, 543 to 585. Now it's at 749. So this thing has been a monster. And you could say this is just a little consolidation area up here. Decker's really strong stock. Elf, another retail name, had a breakout from a base and then pulled back to its moving average. And it made this like 25% move, 131 to 164. And now it pulled back a little bit. If you didn't know the news of it going from the small cap 600 to the mid cap 400, which is a promotion, but there's more funds tracking the small cap 600 than the mid cap 400. So, in that rebalance, it sold off a little bit. You don't need to really know that. If you just look at the chart, you can say it had a big move, 131 to 164, gave some back, 25% move, it gave $10 back. Big deal, right? So it's finding support at its moving averages. And I talked about those, wedges. That looks like a little bullish wedge too, as it pulls back here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some buyers come into ELF here and make another new high here soon. Let me see. Okay, I got to get to the drug stocks. Lilly just set up in a base, and everybody's talking about everything's extended. I can't buy anything. These drug stocks are not. They're going to report February 6th. Lilly is just a monster of a stock. They're going to crush earnings. I'm pretty sure that, the demand is outstripping their supply. And there you can see this flat base pattern of just 11 weeks, but very strong stock. Novo Nordisk, same thing. They kind of trade together. This one's got a, base on base pattern, flat base, flat base. If you combine, both of those bases, you look at there's a 5 week and a 5 week. So 10 weeks of just going sideways here. Nice inside week last week, just flat on the week. They're selling everything they can make, and they're expanding their manufacturing plants. Okay, that's it for me, except for I lie. One last thing. This week we're going to hear from the Dow Components, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble. We're going to hear from some tech stocks like Netflix, Tesla, ServiceNow, and IBM. But I am interested in the semiconductor names, which has been pretty strong. One of the stronger groups. This is ASML. It's an equipment stock. You can see this cup with handle pullback, and I talk about stocks that are set up. This one is set up. Pull back to the 50 here. I don't know what they're going to say. They report on the 24th. We're just going to have to wait and see. But if they report, bullish numbers, the semiconductor sector can go much higher. Texas Instruments is another one that's reporting this week on the 23rd. Once again, it's set up in a base here, a nice pullback, very similar to ASML. These things can run higher. This is a manufacturing stock. You can see that set up there. And Intel also reports on next week, and this one has a long consolidation. It has recovered here. Now it's in like a stage 2, ascension. It's a climbing higher, but it pulled back as well, and they report on the 25th. So this week we're going to hear some large semiconductor stocks, and these stocks will impact your semiconductor stocks if you own MRVL and RMBS and Broadcom and AMD and NVDA. It will have an impact. I'm hoping a positive one. They have positive things to say. I think they will. Intel's in the PC business, and PC personal computer is rebounding. AMD is in that as well. But everybody's interested in artificial intelligence. We're in an uptrend, a bull market, whatever you want to call it. My bias is to the upside. So, we buy pullbacks, in that type of a market. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Check us out with a free trial. Thank you for watching.